Terry Mikos as Pest. Terrence Mikos was born on December 26, 1953 in Poughkeepsie, New York. In 1979, at the age of 25, he made an unforgettable impression as Vermin, a witty, fiercely loyal and sharp member of the Warriors gang. This role made him a familiar face to fans of police action movies in the late 1970s. But at the moment when his fame was growing, Mikos suddenly left Hollywood. He said playing Vermin taught him the value of loyalty, and the experience inspired him to live a life of public service. Mikos became a news anchor for a local Cablevision television station and gradually moved on to teach public speaking and communication in the Hudson Valley and at Marist College. During this time, he made a deep commitment to his faith and served as interim senior pastor at the Peekskill Assembly of God for 9 years. In 2025, he is 71 years old, still healthy and living in New York, continuing to teach and share his faith with the younger generation. His estimated net worth is around $1 million, accumulated primarily through media, education, and ministry work. The aura of the Warriors has never faded in the hearts of fans, but how many of those Warriors have fallen into the darkness of life? Ever wonder what happened after the Warriors came back? Deborah Van Valkenburg as Mercy. Deborah Van Valkenburg was born on August 29, 1952 in Schenectady, New York, at the age of 27. She played Mercy in The Warriors, 1979, a strong and rebellious woman who joined the Warriors gang amid the chaos of New York. Her character left a lasting impression with her mix of strength and vulnerability rarely seen in action films of the time. After the success of The Warriors, Deborah continued to captivate television audiences with her role as Jackie Rush in the sitcom Too Close for Comfort, which ran from 1980 to 1985. Although she was never involved in major scandals or controversies, Deborah went through a difficult period in her career in the 1990s, when she began playing smaller, less notable supporting roles. However, her passion for art never waned. She studied dance, singing, and puppetry with the legendary Jim Henson and performed in numerous independent and Broadway productions. In 2012, after years of silence, she made a surprise comeback, winning the Polygrind Film Festival Award for Best Supporting Actress for her role in Highway to Hell. It was a stunning artistic rebirth, showing that her passion for acting remains alive after more than 3 decades in the industry. In addition to filmmaking, Deborah is also a trained artist, with a BA in Fine Arts from Pratt Institute, and she says art saved her from feeling lost when her acting career slowed down. In 2025, Deborah Van Valkenburg was 72 years old. She stays strong and regularly attends the Warriors reunions, interacts with fans on social media, and occasionally stars in independent films. Her net worth is estimated at around $2 million. It is not an excessive amount, but it reflects the simple and stable life of a true artist, devoted to her work for more than 40 years. Let's start. Steve James as Baseball Madness. Steve James was born on February 19, 1952 in New York. He appeared in The Warriors, 1979, at the age of 27, playing a member of the Baseball Furies gang, whose characters were distinguished by brightly painted faces and baseball bats. Although it was only a brief supporting role, James made a strong impression with his muscular physique and calm demeanor, marking the beginning of his conquest of the Hollywood action genre. But life behind the camera was lonely, and the wounds too deep to put into words. On the set of The Delta Force, 1986 in Israel, he met the model Nava Halimi, and they got married shortly after the end of the film. It seemed like the beginning of a happy family, but frequent jobs outside the home and financial pressures quietly eroded their happiness. His first marriage ended in divorce, leaving behind a young daughter. It took him years to find peace with Hawaiian actress Christine Pan, whom he married in late 1992. They were only together for a year. Steve was suddenly diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. The disease progressed so quickly that he lost hope. Steve James died on December 18, 1993 at his home in Burbank, California at the age of 41. At a quiet but emotional funeral, Sidney Poitier, who worked with his wife, spoke for Hollywood, which may have arrived too late to recognize him. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at $2 million, a pittance compared to the quiet dedication and scars he carried throughout his career. Paul Greco as Sully. Paul Greco was born on October 21, 1955 in Newark, New Jersey. At the age of 24, he played Sully in The Warriors, 1979, the leader of the Orphan Gang, a group of renegades trying to make their way in the brutal world of street gangs in New York. With his impassive face and tense demeanor, Greco portrayed a chilling image of failure and thus began a challenging film career. After The Warriors, Paul Greco appeared in Woody Allen's Broadway play Danny Rose, 1984. Although it was a great opportunity, the filming process was not easy. Greco once recounted how he had to reshoot a simple action scene dozens of times because of the director's perfectionism, which left him emotionally drained. The pressures of time, space, and the spotlight put Greco under constant stress, which he described as physical and mental pain. He often felt guilty about having congenital strabismus in his left eye, which made his facial expression irregular, and he felt self-conscious throughout his career. These experiences did not make him give up, but gradually reduced his passion for art. In the early 2000s, Paul Greco's health began to decline significantly. After months of coughing and chest pain, he was diagnosed with lung cancer. The disease progressed rapidly, due to which he had to take a break from filming and cancel many collaborations. Greco lived a relatively private life, spending most of his time in Red Hook, New York, where he died on December 17, 2008, at the age of 53. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at $1 million, mostly thanks to supporting roles over nearly 3 decades. James Remar as Ajax. James Remar was born on December 31, 1953 in Boston, Massachusetts, United States. At the age of 25, he played Ajax in Warriors, a temperamental, aggressive and testosterone-filled member of the Warriors gang. This role made Remar famous for his fierce looks and explosive energy. But Ajax also hinted at his career. Just as he was gaining attention after the Warriors, Remar landed the lead role in James Cameron's blockbuster Aliens, 1986. But just weeks into filming, he was fired after being caught doing drugs. It was a painful fall. Once a highly regarded talent, he was quietly replaced by Michael Biehn. The shock led to years of addiction and disorientation, causing his career to spiral out of control. He later admitted that he had self-harmed and often wondered if he deserved forgiveness. Only in the early 2000s did Remar slowly return to supporting roles, most notably as Harry Morgan, the adoptive father of a serial killer, in the series Dexter. This role brought him back to the stage, and for the first time he was recognized as an actor with emotional depth. His road to recovery, however, was not easy. He underwent therapy, rehabilitation, and faced numerous rejections due to his past. Every subsequent role, from Sex and the City to Django Unchained, is the result of incredible persistence. In 2025, James Remar was 71 years old and is still active in the film industry, primarily in supporting roles on television and in action films. He claims to have overcome his addiction and now devotes his time to supporting addiction recovery programs. His estimated net worth is around $5 million, which is largely the result of decades of work in television, film, and voice acting. Marcelino Sanchez as Rembrandt. Marcelino Sanchez was born on December 5, 1957 in Puerto Rico. He appeared in the film The Warriors, 1979 at the age of 21, playing Rembrandt, the youngest member of the gang of the same name, known for his graffiti and sad eyes. Rembrandt was the artistic soul of the chaotic gang world, leaving a deep mark on audiences for generations. However, after The Warriors, Marcelino's career did not take off as expected. He went on to take brief supporting roles in shows like Chips and Hill Street Blues, but Hollywood still seemed to see a typical Latino face rather than a talent waiting to be discovered. When he was cast in the children's show 321 Contact, he hoped it would be a stepping stone from gang roles to a more positive image. But there he faced subtle discrimination in the industry, lower pay than his white colleagues, lack of support from the production team, and an uninspiring work environment. He soon found himself in a state of professional turmoil at a young age. In the early 1980s, while AIDS was quietly spreading, Marcelino was diagnosed with the disease. He had to hide his condition from his colleagues, fearing losing roles, being rejected at auditions, and being shunned backstage. The pains of his illness became more and more apparent, but Hollywood avoided him. On November 21, 1986, Marcelino Sanchez passed away quietly in his Hollywood home at the age of 28. His net worth at the time was estimated at $300,000, a pittance for someone who once held such promise. Roger Hill as Cyrus Roger Hill, born on July 31, 1948 in New York, is an American actor who became famous with the role of Cyrus in The Warriors in 1979, when he was 31 years old. In the film, Hill plays gang leader Gramercy Riffs, who initiates a fateful meeting that leads to a night of bloody mayhem across the city. However, his real life was a long series of difficulties. After The Warriors, Hill not only failed to find another leading role, but also became embroiled in years of litigation. In 2005, he filed a lawsuit against Take-Two Interactive for using his image and voice in the video game The Warriors without permission. Although the lawsuit initially gained attention, it was quickly dismissed and forgotten, leaving Hill increasingly angry at being exploited without compensation or acknowledgement by the film or video game industries. He fell into depression and almost severed all ties with Hollywood. Hill also appeared on the television show One Life to Live and in several theater productions in New York. However, many of these projects were delayed or canceled at the last minute due to financial problems or changes in direction, causing him to repeatedly miss opportunities to restart his career. Hill abruptly moved away from the spotlight and lived a quiet life, working in a library in Manhattan and writing poetry. On February 11, 2014, Roger Hill died at his home in the Bronx of a heart attack at the age of 65. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at $700,000, based on his limited acting career and library work. David Harris as Cochise. David Harris was born on June 18, 1949 in New York. He is best remembered for his role as Cochise in The Warriors, 1979. A tough, street-smart gang member with a keen sense of fashion, which he played at the age of 30. The role quickly established him as an icon of New York street cinema in the late 1970s. Prior to The Warriors, Harris gained notoriety for his role in the television movie Judge Horton and the Scottsboro Boys, 1976, in which he played Haywood Patterson, a pivotal role that dealt with racial injustice. He also appeared in films such as Brubaker, 1980, opposite Robert Redford, and A Soldier's Story, 1984, often playing a policeman or soldier, a role he would continue to play throughout the 1980s and 1990s. While many of his contemporaries drifted away, Harris lived a quiet but admirable life. He had a daughter and 2 grandchildren and battled cancer for years before passing away at his home in New York on October 25, 2024, at the age of 75. His death came just weeks before the release of the Lin-Manuel Miranda tribute album, The Warriors, which devastated fans. David Harris's net worth was estimated at $2 million at the time of his death, the result of nearly 50 years of tireless dedication to the arts. Lynn Thigpen as DJ. Lynn Thigpen was born on December 22, 1948 in Joliet, Illinois. At 30, she shot to fame as an anonymous DJ in The Warriors, 1979, revealing only half of her face behind the microphone, but her warm, strategic voice carried the film. Despite her short screen time, she brought emotion, rhythm, and personality, becoming an integral part of this cinematic legend. However, Lynn's career was not easy. As a black woman who entered the entertainment industry in the late 1970s, she was often passed over for leading roles. After The Warriors, she turned to Broadway and educational television, where she became best known for her role as the matriarch in the children's series Where's Carmen Sandiego. Although she was loved, her television career wore her down, with demanding filming schedules and salaries that did not match her fame. Later, Lynn complained of severe headaches, but her busy schedule prevented regular checkups. On March 12, 2003, just hours after leaving the set of The District with a severe headache, Lynn Thigpen died suddenly in her sleep from a cerebral hemorrhage. At the age of 54, she never married, had no children, and left a huge artistic legacy. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at $1.5 million, primarily from her work in television, theater, and voice acting, particularly in video games such as Carmen Sandiego. Dorsey Wright, as Cleon Dorsey Wright, was born on January 8, 1957 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. At the age of 22, he left an indelible impression on the audience with the role of Cleon, the first leader of the Warriors gang, in the film of the same name from 1979. Although brief, this impressive performance cemented Dorsey Wright as a hidden icon in the 1970s street cop genre. That same year, he appeared in Hair, a wild love song for young people during the Vietnam War. In 1981, he played a gang member in Ragtime, and in 1984, he played Junior Jones in The Hotel New Hampshire, an adaptation of the John Irving novel. However, his career quickly declined. Wright left Hollywood and his acting career in his early 20s, just as his career was taking off. He spent most of his life working for the New York City Transit Authority for over 30 years. At the same time, Wright continued to cultivate his love of the arts by participating in Theater for the Forgotten, a nonprofit theater group that performs in prisons, rehabilitation centers, and hospitals across the United States. During this period, he searched for a deeper meaning in the performing arts. In 2025, Dorsey Wright is 68 years old and currently living comfortably in New York. He has since retired, but still occasionally does voiceover work for commercials and continues to write and direct small independent film projects. He returned for a one-off role in 2005, reprising his role as Cleon in the video game adaptation of The Warriors. Wright's net worth is estimated at $1 million, mostly from regular government work and small but personally meaningful creative projects. Michael Beck as Swan. Michael Beck was born on February 4, 1949 in Memphis, Tennessee. He is the third of 9 children. In 1979, at the age of 30, Beck made a big impact playing Swan, the calm and determined leader of the Warriors gang, in the film of the same name. It was this role that made him an overnight star. With his penetrating gaze and calm demeanor, Beck became a symbol of steady leadership amid the chaos of New York. However, the spotlight was short-lived. In 1980, Beck starred in Xanadu, a fantasy musical that combined disco and roller skating. Planned as a sequel to Grease, Xanadu ended up being a box office disaster. Beck's portrayal of Sonny Malone was panned by critics, earning him a Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Actor. From the height of his fame, Beck seemed to fade into obscurity. His subsequent roles in Megaforce, 1982, and Triumphs of a Man Called Horse, 1983, failed to revive his fading image. Beck turned to television, appearing in such series as Houston Nights, Walker, Texas Ranger, and Babylon 5, but never again found success. Beck not only disappeared from the screen, but gradually withdrew from the spotlight. He found solace in dubbing audiobooks, especially reading novels by John Grisham and My Life by former President Bill Clinton. With his deep, soulful voice, Beck has become one of America's most beloved audiobook readers. In 2005, he returned only once to voice the character of Swan in the video game adaptation of The Warriors as a nostalgic farewell to his golden days. In 2025, Michael Beck is 76 years old and lives a peaceful life, without scandals and controversies. He is a devout Christian and rarely appears in public. Although he didn't retain the fame he enjoyed during his time with the Warriors, Beck masterfully rebuilt his life through the power of his voice. His net worth is estimated at $3 million, largely thanks to his previous acting roles and decades as an audiobook narrator. He is proof that success does not always have to be crushing. Sometimes it comes from persistence and a gentle voice. David Patrick Kelly as Luther. David Patrick Kelly was born on January 23, 1951 in Detroit, Michigan. He was 28 when he appeared in The Warriors, 1979, playing Luther, the brutal and insane leader of the Rogues gang, who causes chaos during the Warriors' escape. With his crazy eyes and the iconic line, "Warriors, come play EA," delivered over the sound of clinking beer bottles, Kelly created one of the scariest moments in American cinema and turned a supporting role into a cultural icon. But behind the legendary play was a passionate actor. Kelly studied under silent comedy master Marcel Marceau and studied with Mira Rostova, Marlon Brando's acting coach. However, his career was not easy. His portrayal of bizarre, dark and realistic characters often led to him being labeled as mentally unstable. Despite this, he persisted in finding his own way, appearing in major films such as David Lynch's 48 Hours, 1982, and Wild at Heart, 1990. In contrast to the madness on screen, Kelly's private life was calm and stable. Only in 2005, at the age of 54, he married actress Juliana Francis. 3 years later, they had their first daughter, Margaret Jane. Kelly practices meditation, Seido Karate and Tai Chi Chuan, a practice he has practiced for more than 3 decades to stay calm and away from the toxic glare of Hollywood fame. In 2025, David Patrick Kelly was 74 years old and still active. He recently reprised his role as Charlie in John Wick, Chapter 2, proving that his creepy on-screen presence remains intact. His current net worth is estimated at $4 million, which he has earned through his work in film, theater, and numerous appearances at Warriors fan events.